Hello and welcome back. This is Swiftfish here, and today I'm looking at doing a gameplay walkthrough for Gwent, the closed beta. I want to start with a Henslet deck. I'm just going to get straight into a game just to really give people the basics, and then I'm going to come out and have a look for different decks, explain those through, and hopefully for anyone that watches these videos and doesn't have an understanding of the game, by the end of this you will do. And please, if you enjoy it, have a look at a couple of my other videos, and hopefully we will get you into the game itself. I absolutely love it. They've updated it recently. It's a little bit more glitchy than what it used to be, but it is a preview, so you have to give it a bit of time. I think by the time they finish, they are truly going to make something really wonderful. So I'm playing with a Henselt deck. At the start of each game, you get to redraw 3 cards. I'm just going to have a little think here, so you'll have to excuse me if I go a bit quiet. I'm trying to push my mind to think of a winning formula. Okay, I think that will do. So there is 5 different decks to choose from. We've got 2 different decks on the field here. Each deck looks at its own way of winning the game. To win the game, on the left hand side you can see 2 zeros. Hopefully when my opponent plays a card, you can see it's gone up to 4. Each card has its own number next to it, and those numbers add up to a total. The key is at the end of the round to have the highest total.
Ho ho, I sense trouble.
You have to win 2 rounds to win the game. It's important, however, to think about when sometimes to pass the round and lose it. You can hold down the Y button and you will pass that round. And if you've got more numbers than your opponents out in the field, then they will have to play their cards to either win the round or just take the loss. So I'm going to pass now. If he passes, it will be a draw, which gives us a point each, which he has. So this is it doesn't happen very often. This ends as a tie. So that means the next round is the round that you have to win. So we get to draw 2 cards at the start of a round. Not bad cards. I'm going first, but that's fine because I have more cards than my opponent. The only problem is doing what we've done here is that we both have all of our cards and possibly even special cards. Now, special cards are magical cards. I have 2 here, the promote card and a Dimitri in Shackles. Special cards can influence and change the games in a massive way. So my deck at the moment, it looks quite simple, quite low numbers. What the idea is that I have a card called a promote card. Promote card makes cards into gold cards. Now gold cards are special cards. I have one at the end here. There's only a couple of ways that you can damage a gold card. Other than that, whether you play a weather effect, which certain decks do. Now weather effects work on one of the 3 different areas of the board: the sword, the archery, the artillery. And if you don't have cards with a weather immunity, which a card will say on it, it will bump that card down to just 1 point. So you imagine if I've got 3, 3 and 3 on the top row there, it then goes down to 1, 1 and 1. It makes a massive difference from 9 to 3.
Bow before modern Freya.
A lot of this game is all about knowing the decks well enough to play them in a way that you work with them to get the highest amount of points coming into the round. So what I have here is 2 reinforced siege towers. Now these gain 2 strength whenever a gold card appears on your side of the field. What I'm intending to do is spawn a lot of these poor infantry, and by doing so I will promote them, which makes them gold. And if you're promoting 6 at a time, all of a sudden 6 times 2 that's 12, but then it works for both of them. I get 24 more points added on to the left hand side. My opponent's playing a deck where he tries to just knock points off of my cards, and then by doing that, these clan Turasach Axemen, I'm sorry my pronunciations are rubbish, they gain points for each one knocked off, which he's done there. it's all about coming up with a formula with a deck that you're happy with. It's got a lot more difficult because beforehand, before they updated this game, you could have decks that were overpowered, in all fairness. But at the same time, that's what made it fun. And for people who knew how to play the game, it was quite an exciting time. So I'm going to promote these all to gold. They all gain 2 because they've gone gold, and the ones on the bottom are now bumping up. So I have 75 on the left hand side. Now what I want to do, and hopefully he won't destroy my reinforced siege towers with his go, is promote them so they can't get damaged either. But we will wait and see what he plays. He's playing cards, so he's got this card, Raging Bear. The one he had before was a card that if it gets damaged but not killed, it transforms into a Raging Bear. Quite a clever card, and he's just hurting his own cards to make them stronger. So at this moment in time, I am looking quite in a good position. Got quite a lot of points on the board through playing a deck that now sort of he's going to struggle to hurt my cards. The only downside is my cards in my hands are not great, because I've got cards that resurrect cards, and unfortunately you can't resurrect a gold. I look in my graveyard, I've only got a gold. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is play a Trololo, which, as it says, removes 1 strength from all the non-gold units. He's just made the ones on his fighting row gold. So he's going to take 1 off of all those ones up there, then he gains 2 for each. So at this moment in time, I'm looking like in a winning position with 108 on the left hand side. This game can change very, very quickly. I believe he's about to show you just how. So he just used Dimitri in Shackles. That's a card that stops a card's effect working. So now when I play a gold card, that will not gain 2. I'll show you by playing a Geralt card.
Any last words?
The other 2 will, that one won't. It's a good card to have. I do have one, there's my one, Dimitri in Shackles.
Snitches get stitches.
So he's about to do it to another one of my cards as well. So I think it's only fair if we do it back. At this moment in time, unless this last card is something very special, I do not see how I can lose. Ooh, he says that. Ah, now, what he doesn't realise is he's done me a favour there now. Because he's put a bronze card in my graveyard, I can now revive that card and bring it back. All he can do is use a special card which spawns 2 cards on the field, neither of which are strong enough to beat my deck.
Not bad.
And now
Not bad
I can
at all.
pass, he has to pass because he's got no cards left. I win the game. It's really all about using each deck. It has its own special ways, more than one usually, to get the highest points on the left hand side. At the end of each game you get rewards, experience and cards because of it. With Gwent there are decks that are stronger than others, and there are certain cards that make decks exceptionally strong. So we're going to have a look for the different decks now. There are 5 different decks or realms to play with. We have Skellige, Northern Realms, Monsters, Sociatal and Nilfgaard. I usually use the monster decks, so I'm just going to go into the monster decks. Within each deck you can choose a leader. There's 3 in each one. I have all the 3 leaders here. Each one has its own special ability. And then on top of that, you've got the leader as a special ability and the deck has its own special abilities. You need to use these together to make your cards more powerful. It's quite easy on Gwent, which is one of the reasons why I love it, is to gain what is called ore. You can all see it in the top right. We've got ore, scrap and a keg. Once you get enough ore, you can go to the shop. Within the shop, you can spend your ore to open barrels. In a barrel, you get 5 cards. These cards can vary from ordinary bronze, silver and gold cards, golds being the best. And scrap allows you to go into the collection menu. In the collection menu, it will show you every single card that is in the game. I also like a lovely nifty feature. If you look on the left hand side, it shows you how many you've got, and especially how many you've got of each realm. The neutrals are cards that don't actually have a realm. As you can see, it's just below all factions on the left hand side. Neutral cards can be played in any deck of your choosing. So a lot of these special cards, if you've seen me playing that game, I had a couple. And there are other ones as well. You can get neutral gold cards. You can play those, like I have a Geralt card. You can play those in any deck. The key is to really use your neutral cards with a deck that makes them even more powerful. But sometimes it's better to just use the gold cards within the decks themselves. So each deck has its own golds. And those golds are usually more specific to that deck. There's one card in particular you'll see a lot of people use if you start playing the game yourself, which is called a Yennefer card. I believe I have one here. That's a neutral card. The Yennefer card removes 1 strength from the strongest unit on the opposing side at the start of the round. I know this has only been a quick and brief introduction to the gameplay of Gwent. If you do have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. Or if you'd like me to do a more in-depth or go through every deck, different ways of playing Gwent, please let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, thumbs down, and feel free to give me the reason why. I'm always looking to improve my videos. And if you want to see more on Gwent,